Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so I think we have covered till Shloka 19 of the sixth chapter, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in this section of chapter 6, Shloka 10 to 27, Krishna is actually talking about the stages of yoga practice and finally samadhi. So I think we have discussed about some part of it. Therefore, by practicing yoga, one will learn how to control the mind, and then the mind will be fixed on super soul or Paramatma, and then one attains this. When he is attained to perfection, that is called as samadhi, and then he will enjoy unlimited transcendental pleasure. So now, starting from Shloka 20. So Shloka 20 to 23 have been combined. So I'll be chanting those shlokas. Yatroparamate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatmanatmanam pashyannatmani tushyati sukham atyantikam yattad buddhigrahyam atindriyam veti yatra na jaivayam sitaschalati tatvatah yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate nadhikam tatah yasmin sthito na dukkhena गुणापि विचाल्यते तं विद्या दुःखसंयोग योगं योगसंज्ञितम्. So here, yatra, where, means where. Uparamate, ramati means to feel happiness or pleasure. Uparamate means because he is feeling the transcendental pleasure, he has ceased, his mental activities. That means the mind is no longer disturbed or attracted to material stuff, activities. Then niruddham. Niruddha means being restrained from matter. Then yoga sevaya, by the practice of yoga. Yatra chaiva, yatra, in which atmana means here the pure mind. Atmanam means the self or the soul or the super soul. Pashyan, by seeing or realizing. Tushyati atmani, that means one becomes satisfied and hence self, or in the spiritual platform. So here Krishna is talking about the perfectional stage of samadhi. So what happens really in samadhi is explained here. So here one will be able to see the spirit soul, or in fact the Paramatma, because the super soul or the Paramatma, he is actually the goal of all the yoga practices, or especially this Ashtanga yoga, Dhyana yoga. So yogis, they are meditating so that they can actually be able to see the Paramatma within the heart. So now, by constant practice of yoga, so this yogi is able to restrain himself from material objects. That means he's able to restrain his senses and the mind from material objects, and therefore now the mind has become peaceful. It's not getting attracted to anything material, and therefore, because of this, I've already explained this previously in one of the shlokas here, in the very same chapter, Jitatmana Prashantasya Paramatma Samahitaha. That means one who has been able to win over the mind, or whose mind has become completely purified or controlled, and it's become very peaceful. In such a state of mind, now the mind has become very, it's like a mirror. Cheto Darpanam. So it is a mirror. When it is fully clean, it can reflect the super soul and the soul. So therefore, once yogi, a person is able to realize the super soul within his heart, then he becomes Atmani, Pashyan Atmani Tushyati. So by realizing the Lord, he becomes very, very satisfied. Sukham, therefore, now that he has attained such a happiness, now Krishna is explaining, therefore, what really do we mean by happiness? Sukham. Happiness means Atyantikam, the supreme happiness. Yet that, which is that, the supreme happiness. Is it really the happiness that we get by satisfying our senses? That means by eating something nice, by seeing something nice, or if we are able to touch something nice or experience something through our senses. No, that is not, first of all, is eternal, nor is it supreme. It may be very temporary and it may be very meager. So, supreme happiness, Krishna is explaining here, is that which is atindriyam, which is actually not even accessible to the senses or the intelligence. Buddhim grahyam atindriyam. So then, if we cannot perceive, if we cannot see something nice, one way, because we are used to thinking that, only if we see something nice, if we taste something nice, if we are able to realize happiness. But here Krishna is talking about transcendental senses, which is the spiritual senses of the soul. So when the spiritual senses of the soul are awakened, and when they are able to perceive their object, and which is their object, see, because material senses want material objects, similarly spiritual senses want spiritual objects, which is what? Which is the Supreme Lord. Therefore, this kind of a perfection, which is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. So, Sukham Atyantikam Yattat Buddhi Grahyam Atindriyam. Now, then Veti Yatra. Then, wherein, Yatra means wherein, Veti means one knows, Na Chaivayam, certainly not, I am Sthitas. I am Sthitaha means one who is thus situated, Chalati Tattvataha. He doesn't move from the truth. Established thus, one never departs from the truth. Because constantly the essences and the mind, or even the intelligence, they're always demanding. They want their food. And so they are never to be satisfied. Because if they are driven by lust, we have already seen in the 3rd chapter, it can never be satisfied. Kama Rupena, what is that? Gnanino Nitya Vairinam. Kama Rupena Kaunteya Dushpuranena Anena Lena Cha. That means if these senses and mind or intelligence are driven by lust, they are never to be satisfied. But here, they're completely satisfied because they have found their true uh, enjoyment or true happiness by focusing on the supreme lovable object, that is the Paramatma. So therefore, this perfection, because now the soul and the mind, the intelligence, senses, they are not aware of the external, or they are not focused on the external objects. They're all completely withdrawn inside. This also we have discussed in detail, so I'm not going to go into that again. So because they're completely withdrawn in the heart and they're focused on the Paramatma, and it is by attaining the realization of this Paramatma, the soul, followed by all these other mind, intelligence, senses, everything will become completely satisfied. We have seen that even in the Bhagavatam, the famous shloka says, what is that? Yayatma suprasidati. What is it's a famous verse. Only by unalloyed and unconditional and uninterrupted seva, the soul will become seva to the super soul, the Paramatma, the soul will become completely satisfied. Therefore, here we can understand now that the soul has attained the realization of the Paramatma, therefore it becomes completely satisfied. Once a person attains this state, the shloka is Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma Yatho Bhaktir Adhokshaje Ahituki Apratihata Atma Suprasidati. So the Atma can become completely satisfied or happy only when it attains, it does pure, unalloyed seva to the Lord. So here, of course, in the Paramatma realization, there is no active seva, but at least there is still connection with the Lord. When it comes to Bhagavan, the devotee attains him in the spiritual world, then he engages in his personal service, and therefore it is much, much superior to this realization, and therefore the happiness gained that way is also much higher. So one who has attained this, even in this Paramatma realization, one who has attained this state, what more is to be achieved? Therefore, next, the Lord is talking about Yam Labdva Chaparam. Once Labdva means attained, one who has attained this, by attaining this, Cha Aparam Labham. A person who, after attaining this highest transcendental happiness, he knows, he understands now there is nothing more to be attained. There is no greater gain than this. Cha aparam labham. Labham means gain. Manyate na adhikam tataha. There is adhikam means more than this. He considers manyate, he understands now there is nothing more than this, higher than this. Yasmin sthito na. So in such a state of mind, when one is situated, sthitaha means being situated, na means he will never. Yasmin sthito na dukkhena. Gurunapi dukkhena. Gurunapi means very, very serious. And dukkha means, troubles or miseries. Even if one, goes into such, dangerous situation, or even if one encounters very, very unfortunate miseries, even then he will never be deviated from this state of happiness or this transcendental realization, because now he's established, in the spiritual realization. Therefore, anything apart from this, anything material that happens, it may be however bad or good it may be, he will not be affected by it. He will not be disturbed by it because it is all external. Because he has completely now understood that he is the spirit soul, and his all he has his eternal relationship with the Lord. Then how do all these external temporary things, which are not even uh, really his, they don't really matter to him. Therefore, no matter what kind of difficulty he goes through, or even otherwise, he's not disturbed. Tam vidyad dukha samyoga. Tam vidyad means, vidyat means by knowing. Tam means that uh, dukkha samyoga. Vyogam means, samyoga means, coming in contact, and dukkha means misery. So, because he understands now that, in this whole material life, why do we become unhappy? We become unhappy because it is only the senses coming into contact with the sense objects, and it is, or even the mind perceiving something. All this is temporary, and it's not really factual, because sometimes the senses come into contact with pleasurable objects. Sometimes they come into contact with uh, those objects which don't give them pleasure. So, but that does not mean anything to the soul, actually, because these are all external. The soul is always happy because now he is realized a super soul. So therefore, he understands that the samyoga viyoga, uh, the senses coming in contact with the objects, and senses, not coming in contact with the object. All this is illusory, and therefore, because he is already established in yoga, or in connection, or in Krishna consciousness, he is now uh, unaffected by all this, external sense pleasures or miseries. He is completely free now from all this. So, our miseries, or the so-called miseries, continue to bother us only until the point that we don't realize that, these miseries or pleasure which is born out of senses coming in contact with their objects, this is completely external. It's got nothing to do with us who are the spirit souls. Once we wake up to that realization, then whatever happens in the material life, it doesn't really affect us. Okay, next shloka, number 24. न निश्चयेन योक्तव्यो योगो निर्विण्ण चेतसा संकल्प प्रभवान् कामांस् त्यक्त्वा सर्वान् शेषतः. So one should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith, and not be deviated from the path. This is the translation. One should abandon without exception all material desires born out of mental speculation, and thus control all senses on all sides by the mind. So these are the points that the Lord repeats time and again, because it is so important that it needs to be emphasized. Because only when we hear all this constantly, then it will start making an influence on us, and then we will start to understand, actually, in truth, that we are not the body. Actually, we are the spirit soul. Saha means that nishchayena, with firm determination, yoktavyaha yogaha. So this yoga system needs to be practiced with, yoktavyaha means practiced with firm determination. Nirvinna chetasa, without deviation. Anirvinna chetasa. Nirvinna means to go here and there. Anirvinna means without deviation. Sankalpa prabhavan kamams. So, because of our material desires, we are speculating. So the thing is, it is almost always, it is everything is in our mind actually. So we create a whole life actually with because of the desires we have within our minds, and therefore in our next life we get a body to uh, fit that mind or whatever is our mental situation. So we are constantly thinking. That means we are planning what to do next, or how to improve, or how to fix this problem, or whatever be the case. Mind is constantly in that mode, and therefore all the desires are actually it's the mind that gives shape to all these desires. Therefore Krishna is saying tyaktva sarvan asheshataha. Asheshataha means completely nothing should remain. Shesha means to remain. Asheshataha, nothing should remain. Sarvan, everything. Tyaktva means to give up. What should we give up? Completely. We should give up all the desires that are born out of this mental speculation. Then manasaiva indriya. Manasaiva, by the mind, it's only by the mind. Indriya gramam, by senses on all sides. That's what it means, gramam, on all sides. Viniyamya, we have to regulate the senses from all sides. Samantataha, completely, by the help of the mind. So therefore, we have to be very careful, because if we let the mind loose, in the sense, if the mind does not have its food, we don't give it food for the mind or the intelligence, especially the mind, because mind constantly is concocting and speculating and accepting and rejecting. And so it will keep thinking, and it will develop, the thoughts will develop into desires, and then finally we become attached to those desires. Therefore, we have to control the mind. We have to also control the senses with the help of the mind on all sides. Because, as stated previously, if the senses are also not controlled, if we let the senses go loose, then they will go behind anything and everything. So many objects of the senses, and in turn, it will carry the mind, and it will derail the whole chariot of this mind, and even buddhi, the intelligence, everything will be deviated. Therefore, Krishna is saying we have to, without exception, we have to completely throw away all these desires, material desires coming out from the mind, by controlling the mind and the senses. Otherwise, there is no question of being on being steadfast on the path of yoga. Okay. Next shloka number 25. Shanai shanairu paramed buddhya dhriti grihitaya atma samstham manah kritva na kinchit ati chintayet. Shanai means slowly, means gradually, step by step. Uparamet, one should hold back, or one should give up. Buddhya means by intelligence. Dhriti grihitaya. Dhrita is like dhrida. means which where there is a lot of determination and conviction. Grihitaya means something mm, we hold on to something, with conviction or determination. So gradually, Krishna is saying here, step by step, one should become situated in the trance. So slowly by giving up all these material desires, controlling the senses through the mind, purifying, mind and the intelligence, now one has to become situated in trance. Because he's saying Atma Samstham Manaha Kritva. Atma Samstham means to be in trance or to be situated on a spiritual platform. Manaha Kritva. So mind should be fixed on the Paramatma or the Atma. Manaha Kritva. Usually it's the Paramatma. Na kinchidapi chintayet. One should not think of anything else. One should only be thinking of the super soul. So therefore, when one's mind is fixed completely in samadhi on the Paramatma, one should remain fixed that way. And by the means of intelligence, one should be very firm by full conviction. So one can attain to this by gradually, step by step, by following all the previous steps. We finally get to this point wherein with the help of intelligence, which is fully convinced with knowledge. So one's mind should be fixed on the super soul, and mind should never be allowed to waver to think of anything else. Next shloka, number 26. Yato yato nishchalati manaschanchala asthiram tatastato niyamyaitat atmanyeva vasham nayet. So one may ask, oh, but how to control this mind? It's extremely fickle and wavering. So therefore Krishna is advising, yes, certainly the mind, the nature of the mind is to be fickle. Therefore he is saying, yataha yataha, whenever nishchalati manaha, the mind, when it becomes agitated, as in it starts wavering, chanchalam asthiram, when it is flickering, and asthiram means when it becomes unsteady, then tataha tataha, there, that very moment, what should you do? Niyamyaitad atmani. Means niyamya means you have to immediately regulate this this mind. You should bring back the focus of the mind to the self or the Paramatma. How? By vasham nayet. You should control it, bring it back. So we have to understand nature of the mind is it is always fickle, it is unsteady, it keeps going here and there. But we should not give up. We should not be discouraged, but we should, as and when it wavers, immediately you should try to bring it back to focus. So this is the practice. This is sadhana. So even in our chanting process, we all have that experience, because we are supposed to focus the mind, concentrate the mind on the Maha Mantra, hear the mantra that we are chanting, but the mind may flicker, the mind may wander, it may go here, there. But a sadhaka should immediately we should not let the mind stray so far away that we will be completely lost. As soon as the mind strays a little from the focus, immediately bring it back. Bring back the focus again back to hearing and on the chanting of the Mahamantra. So this is sadhana, practice. Because once, if we are not alert, what happens? The mind wanders and it would have strayed away so far that we would have completely lost. We'll end up thinking something else, and japa may be going on mechanically without even realizing that our mind has completely strayed away. So, therefore, we have to be alert and we should understand that this is the nature of the mind. So, better bring it back quickly. Don't let it stray away too fast. Next shloka, number 27. Prashantamanasam henam yoginam sukhamuttamam upayati shantarajasam brahmabhuta akalvasham. So here the Lord is saying Prashanta Manasam. Now a perfect yogi who has, whose mind has become peaceful, Prashanta. And how can the mind be peaceful? Only when the mind has attained its final goal, which is the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. That means he's been able to fix his mind completely on the lotus feet of Krishna. Such a person with such a peaceful mind, uh, he can really attain the highest happiness. Yoginam sukham uttamam. Uttamam means highest, sukham means the happiness. So this yogi can attain his highest state of happiness by only when the mind becomes completely peaceful by focusing on the lotus feet of the Lord. Otherwise, where is the question? There is no question of any peace. Forget happiness. There will be no peace also. So, even in the second chapter, we come across this shloka, wherein Krishna actually gives the whole series. How, when the intelligence is peaceful and the mind and intelligence has to be connected to Krishna. Only then will the mind become peaceful. And unless the mind becomes peaceful, there is no question of happiness. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya nachayuktasya bhavanah nacha bhavayata shantihi ashantasya kutas sukham. This is the shloka. So in which he says, Asti buddhir ayuktasya. See, unless one is connected to Krishna, there is no question of him having good intelligence. So one may say, oh, this person is materially so intelligent, he has, he has won so many awards and degrees and whatnot. But the point is, unless we are connected to the Supreme Lord, we will not have a purified, good sattvic intelligence. So, unless we have such a nice sattvic intelligence, we can never nacha yuktasya bhavana. Unless one is thus connected to the Lord in Krishna consciousness, he cannot have a fixed, steady mind. Unless one who has a steady mind, nacha bhavayataha shantihi. That means unless he is fixed, his mind is steady in Krishna consciousness, he cannot have any shanti or peace of mind. Ashantasya kutas sukham. Unless one is peaceful, there is no question of happiness. See, this is the point that most people in the modern day and age miss out on. So people are constantly endeavoring for sense gratification, sense enjoyment, but that will not give us happiness. Why? Because when we let the senses constantly run behind their objects, mind will go crazy. Mind will not be peaceful. It is always disturbed. And if the mind is disturbed and not peaceful, then where is the question of happiness? So therefore, this is the sutra, the most important sutra we can understand. Krishna emphasizes again and again. Here also he's saying, Prashanta manasam hi enam. That yogi whose mind has become peaceful, now he has attained highest happiness. And why has he become peaceful? He's saying in the next line, this is a very important shloka. It's quoted many a times. Upaiti shanta rajasam, because now he has subdued the mode of passion. Rajoguna is completely subdued. Upaiti means he has attained Shanta Rajasam, his passion, mode of passion, Rajoguna, it's been pacified. That means what? There is no greed. One who is greedy, he is constantly trying to satisfy his senses. He is constantly trying to, run behind objects of the senses. That's why he cannot be peaceful. One who has, this is all the effects of Rajoguna, because we have even previously we have seen kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhava. This kama, this constant lust or constant longing to satisfy the senses, this is all born of Rajoguna. Therefore, one who is free from the Rajoguna, then he is not affected by lust, and therefore he is also very peaceful. Brahma Bhuta Akalmasham. Such a person has attained Brahma Bhuta, means he has attained the spiritual realization, or he has come to the state of liberation by identification with the absolute truth. Akalmasha means, Kalmasha means contamination or sins. So such a person, because he is freed of Rajoguna, that means he's purified of all his sinful reactions. So therefore, he's free from any kind of contamination, and therefore he platform. So therefore, such a yogi has come to realize of his spiritual transcendental identity, and he's realized the Supreme Lord, and therefore he has now attained the highest happiness by fixing his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. Okay, shloka number 28. Yunjan evam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmashaha sukhena brahma samsparsham nityantam sukham ashnute. Yunjan evam sada atmanam. Sada Yunjan means he is always, Sada means always, Yunjan means he is engaging in this yoga practice, or in the case of devotees, in their sadhana bhakti, they're always trying. It's not that little bit sadhana I do and then again I'll take to sense gratification. No, that will not help. So because we have to be constantly endeavoring for perfection or purifying ourselves. So therefore, evam, thus, in this way, so in what way? We just saw that, he's having been purified, now he's fixing his mind on the Supreme Lord. And in this way, he's engaged, he's constantly engaged in yoga practice. Then such a yogi, Vigata Kalmasha again, he's freed. Vigata means freed from, Kalmasha means all kind of contamination. So a yogi who has been fully purified, and and who has come to a spiritual platform, or at least who has been endeavoring always to come to spiritual platform, um, sukhena brahma samsparshan. Brahma samsparshan. Sparsha means touch. Samsparsha means to be fully in touch with Brahma or the Supreme Lord. And because now he is fully in touch with the Supreme Lord, that means he's constantly, he's always Krishna conscious. Therefore, he attains sukha or the transcendental happiness. Atyantam sukham ashnute. He attains the ashnute means he attains or enjoys atyantam, the highest sukham, happiness. Now, because he has become completely Krishna conscious, fully Krishna conscious, all the time, because he is always in connection with the Lord, he never forgets the Lord. Then such a person, he attains the highest happiness of transcendental loving service of the Lord. That's what Prabhupada has translated, because, as I already mentioned, unless we come to the platform of pure devotional service, all other states of realization, namely Brahman realization or Paramatma, they're all inferior to Bhagavan realization, that too in pure bhakti. वदन्ति तत्त्वविदस्तत्त्वं यद् ज्ञानमद्वयं ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवान् इति शुध्यते. So there are three stages of realization of the supreme absolute truth. One is the Brahman, which is the impersonal, all-pervading light of the Supreme Lord. It's like the rays of the sun are all-pervasive. Similarly, the Supreme Lord's rays, he's the ultimate sun. His energy is, impersonal energy is all pervasive. One may realize that, like the sunshine. Then one may realize the Paramatma, which, who is seated in everyone's heart. Then finally he comes to serving in pure devotion to the Supreme Bhagavan. And one who has achieved that, now that is the highest stage of happiness. Shloka number 29. सर्वभूतस्थम् आत्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शनः. Sarvabhutastham. Stham means to be situated. Sarvabhuta, in all living beings. Atmanam means here, it's not the spirit soul, not the individual spirit soul, but it is the super soul or the Paramatma, because it is the Paramatma who is situated in all living beings. But the individual Atmas, different individual Atmas are present in different bodies, different of different living entities. So my Atma or my soul is different from yours or our friends or our neighbors or anyone else. So each of us are individual spiritual souls, but what is common in all living beings is the Paramatma. It's the same Paramatma situated in every person's heart. Therefore, he's saying here, Sarva Bhutastham Atmanam. Then Sarva Bhutani Cha Atmani. So, in the Supreme Lord, Atmani, in the Supreme Lord, one who sees Sarva Bhutani, all living entities in the Supreme Lord, and one who sees the Supreme Lord in all the living beings, then such a person, Ikshate Yoga Yukta Atma. Yoga Yukta Atma means one who is completely Krishna conscious, one who is connected to the Supreme Lord. Then such a person sees what does he see? He sees everywhere. Sarvatra samadarshanaha. He sees with equal vision. Everywhere he sees equally. Um, why? Because he's seeing the same super soul present in all the living entities, and he's seeing all the living entities in the super soul, in the Paramatma, because it's the Supreme Lord, Paramatma. He's the origin of everything. And so, even though he is Goloka eva nivasati akhilatma bhuta, even though the Supreme Lord is residing personally in Goloka, still by his impersonal energy, he pervades this entire creation. So this entire creation is also his, it's an extension of his own body. So in one sense, we are all within him. At the same time, we are not within him personally, because that the Supreme Lord personally is present in his own abode. At the same time, because everything is his energy, everything is his expansion. So we are all within him. Therefore, one who understands that all the living beings are situated within him, the Supreme Lord, at the same time, the Supreme Lord as Paramatma is also situated in all the living beings. If one is able to see this way, a self-realized person he is able to see this way, then he sees everything with equal vision. Because that means what? One who realizes even in a small ant or in a worm or in an elephant or in a brahmana, anyone for that matter, no matter how great they may be or how inferior they may be materially, but actually spiritually everyone is on the same equal footing, because everybody's body is actually a temple of the Lord, because super soul, the Supreme Lord is residing in each and every body. Therefore, he has this equal vision. So, therefore, in the next shloka, the Lord says, Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. So, this is a very important, very famous shloka. Here he's saying, Yah mam, whoever me, sarvatra pashyati, whoever sees me, sarvatra means everywhere, pashyati, sees, whoever sees me everywhere, also sarvam cha mai pashyati. Pashyati means to see, sarvam cha mai means to see everything in me. Just like what I explained previously. One is the yogi, the highest advanced yogi, he'll be able to see the Supreme Lord situated in everything. He's there everywhere as the Paramatma. At the same time, he also sees all the living beings situated in the Supreme Lord. Then tasya aham na pranashyami. For such a person, I'm never lost. How can he forget the Lord? Because he is able to see the Lord everywhere, in everything, and everything in him, in the Supreme Lord. So if he is able to perceive the Lord in everything, there is no question of forgetting the Lord. So the Lord can never be lost to me. At the same time, for such a person, sachamena pranashyati. Such a person is not lost to the Lord also. So even the Lord cannot forget such a person. So in fact, the Lord always, he says, even in the 4th chapter, he said previously, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. It's a reciprocal relationship, because the Lord is a person. He is also reciprocating with us. To the extent we serve him, to the extent we remember him, to that extent he is also remembering us. He's also attached to us to the extent we are attached to him. So therefore, here also he's saying, because this yogi, this advanced yogi, he's able to see me in everything and see everything in me. I'm never lost to him. That means he never forgets me. Therefore, because he never forgets me, I also never forget him. He's always thinking of me. I'm also thinking of him. So it is so sweet. It's a very sweet relationship. That we can especially appreciate how in Vrindavan, especially after the Lord leaves Vrindavan and goes to Mathura and Dwarka also, because the gopis were constantly thinking of the Lord was also thinking about them. So this is really been, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all our acharyas have explained, the gopis actually represent the highest of all yogis. At the end of this chapter, the Lord himself clarifies who is the highest of all yogis. So now he is slowly giving us all these different characteristics of a yogi who has attained perfection. That means he is always thinking about the Lord. Ultimately, no matter what we practice, how much we chant or how much we read, whichever seva we do, if we are not able to fix our mind on the Lord, then that is not perfection. Of course, it is all, nothing goes to waste. It is all part of sadhana. But one who is able to fix his mind always on the Lord, then even if he is not doing externally, even if he is not serving the Lord, but he's already a perfect yogi. Okay. In the next shloka, number 31. सर्वभूतस्थितं यो मां भजत्येकत्वमास्थितः सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि स योगी मयि वर्तते. Sarvabhutassthitam. Sthitam means, as I said, situated in everybody's heart, in every living being. Yaha mam bhajati. So, who worships? Bhajati means who serves in devotional service. The Supreme Lord, me. Now he is clearly clarifying in last two shlokas. It's actually him. The Lord is saying him. Previously he said Sarva Bhutastham Atmanam. So now in these two shlokas he's saying Yo Mam. He's saying me. Atmanam can also mean sometimes the soul. But he's clarifying here. He's actually saying me, yo mam pashyati, whoever sees me. Again he's saying, sarva bhuta sthitam yo mam. Who is in all the living beings? I am in all the living beings. Whoever sees me that way, whoever sees the super soul, Paramatma, who is situated in all the living beings, such a person who bhajati ekatvam asthitaha, such a person who knows that ekatvam means oneness. Oneness of whom? He knows that Krishna and Paramatma, knowing that Krishna and Paramatma are one. Krishna is Paramatma. Therefore, he serves. He serves the Supreme Lord, knowing thus. Sarvata vartamanopi sayogi mai vartate. Sarvatha, in all respects, vartamanaha, being situated, api, he, that yogi, he always remains in me. Whatever be the circumstance, such a yogi, he's always in me. That means he's in my heart. He's saying that means he's always very dear to the Lord. Because the Lord is very dear to him. Unless one has love for the Lord, he can never think of, for that matter, anyone. Unless we love someone very dearly, why will we think of them? So, of course, there is another case of, envious devotees or envious demons like Kamsa, Shishupala, and others. They were also constantly thinking of the Lord out of fear and envy. That is different. But unless we really love someone, we will not bother to think about them. Therefore, highest yogi who's thinking about the Lord is certainly a premi bhakta, one who's really attained the love for Lord. Only such a person, he can actually see. Um, he can always think of the Lord, knowing the Lord and Paramatma to be one and the same, because he's always thinking of the Lord with love, because the Lord is so dear to him. He's also very dear to the Lord. And therefore, he says, he's always, in whatever be the situation, he's always in my heart. All right, we will stop here. So, if you all have any questions,